Welcome back, guys. Playground here with an in-depth breakdown on everything you need to know about building ancient gears. With the release of the new mini-box, History of the Victor, we now have full support for ancient gear and duel links. You will need 3 runs of the mini-box, as well as 3 copies of the older Ancient Gear Structure Deck X, and a couple cards from other boxes for the extra deck. I'll go ahead and throw those up on the screen so you guys can see what boxes they're in. You'll only need 1 to 2 runs of these boxes, depending on how many copies of the extra deck card you want to run. This is going to be a going second deck, and it turns the duel into a game of survival for both players. Why would you want to play a deck that can't go first? Well, Ancient Gear is an aggressive OTK based deck. It prevents your opponent from using their cards during the battle phase. They also can't target or destroy your monsters, or respond to their effects or do anything when they're summoned. Even if your monsters are somehow destroyed, some of them can still float to help keep you in the game and give you a chance to come back and win. Let's get into the cards themselves and what they do. Ancient Gear Dark Golem is one of your most important monsters. He counts as regular Ancient Gear Golem on the field and in the graveyard, and when he's summoned, he searches up to 2 Ancient Gear cards or Gear Town from your deck to your hand, and then you discard 1. The OG Ancient Gear Golem deals piercing damage. Both cards prevent the opponent from using spell or traps during their battle phase when they attack. Gearbox searches an Earth Machine when he's added to your hand, other than when you draw him. Commander gives you an extra normal summon and banishes itself to place, not activate, place, important distinction. Duel face up on the field. Wyvern searches any Ancient Gear card. Statue tributes itself to special summon an Ancient Gear Golem or a card that mentions it. Tanker special summons an Ancient Gear from your hand or graveyard if your opponent has a monster. Kite Lord is there to keep you alive if you go first. For the spells, Advance searches an Ancient Gear spell or trap when it's activated and tributes a monster to draw a card. Catapult pops a face-up card if you have no monsters, and it can also banish itself from the graveyard to pop another card. Gear Town summons an Ancient Gear when it's destroyed. Ancient Gear Fusion is your polymerization. It lets you use monsters in your deck if you have Golem out and you're using it as a material. Fortress protects your Ancient Gears from targeting or destruction. Makes it so your effects can't be responded to. And if it's destroyed, summons an Ancient Gear when it's popped. Duel is another poly, but from the field or graveyard, you banish the materials, and you have to use an Ancient Gear Golem as a material in order to use this card. Your opponent also has to control a monster. The monster summon can attack up to 3 times, and it also protects your Ancient Gears from monster effects. For the extra deck, Chaos Ancient Gear Giant is your big boss monster, 4500 attack and defense. He's unaffected by spell traps, deals piercing damage when attacking. He can attack all of your opponent's monsters. And your opponent also can't use their effects during the battle phase when he attacks. Megaton, he can attack multiple times, floats into Ultimate Ancient Gear Golem if he's destroyed. Ultimate Ancient Gear Golem deals piercing, floats into regular Ancient Gear Golem. Both of these cards prevent the use of spell traps when attacking for your opponent. Howitzer is unaffected by any card effects, and he floats into an Ancient Gear when he's destroyed. This is not a once per turn effect, by the way. Ballista, your Link monster, grabs an Ancient Gear or Gear Town when he's summoned, and he can also pop a spell trap to make a monster attack go to 0. Geargigan X searches Kite Lord. Dweller, Goddess, and IP, they're all staple extra deck monsters. I'm sure you guys know what they do. Dweller shuts off the graveyard for your opponent. Goddess, generic Link 5. can't be destroyed by non-targeting effects, stops a graveyard summon, negates face-up cards. IP is just your link climber if you want to use it. So what are the strengths and weaknesses of this deck? As mentioned at the start, Ancient Gear is an OTK based deck. It swarms the field pretty easily, so you need to make sure you don't accidentally prevent yourself from being unable to use some of your zones. I've done that a couple times. It can screw up your game plan, so be careful. There are multiple ways of getting the cards you need, since every card in the deck can be searched. Combining this with the ability to prevent your opponent from responding makes Ancient Gear a difficult deck to deal with if you're going first against them. Since your boss monsters prevent any effects during the battle phase, and the other big fusions prevent the activation of spell traps, using this in combination with Ancient Gear Duel basically makes your big monsters immune to spell, trap, and monster effects. This means the only way to destroy your monsters is to swing over them with a bigger stick. And there's not very many monsters in the game capable of beating over 4,500 attack and defense. And there's not really that many that can beat over 3,000 very easily either. That said, the biggest weakness is going first. Since most of their protection works on the turn they're summoned, on our opponent's turn they won't be protected anymore. This means whoever goes first has to play the survival game. For this reason, we play cards that float and prevent damage to help us survive and set up an OTK the following turn. Shutting off the graveyard can hurt us to some degree if we're going first. Not getting graveyard effects off means we don't get to float, and we also can't prevent damage twice with Kiteroid. We can do it once but not twice since we can't banish it. Otherwise, we don't care too much about it going second. Preventing fusion summons definitely hurts this deck significantly though, since the game plan is to get out our fusions. If your opponent happens to have Nibiru, they can use it. Since they're tributing your monsters, they're not targeting or destroying them. As far as building the deck itself goes, it's going to be different from the TCG, of course, if you played the deck in the TCG. The ratios are different, and of course we have the skill to help us out. I think the deck can be played anywhere from 24 to 30 cards. Anything lower than that is kind of difficult due to the sheer number of cards we run. There are no staples in the main deck since we won't be able to set any cards. And the only real tech card we have is the one copy of Kiteroid. The rest are all Ancient Gear cards. The skill for this deck is Ancient Gear Engineering. You can get it from the card trader. It's got 3 effects. Locks us into Earth Machines for the duel. That's fine, that's all we play. We can reveal a Golem or a card that mentions it in our hand, shuffle a card back, and add an Ancient Gear monster. And if our opponent activates an effect during our turn, which isn't hard nowadays, we can place Ancient Gear Duel face up on the field from our hand or deck. For the main monsters, we're going to play 2 copies of Ancient Gear Dark Golem. 3 is bookie, and 1's not enough in case your opponent has an out to it. I think 2 is a good amount. Searches up to 2 Ancient Gear cards. Kind of hard to pass that up. If you only have 1, you can play 1 for now, but definitely add in a second one when you get it. For the regular Gear Golem, we only play 1 copy of this card. It's only in here so we have an Ancient Gear Golem name in the deck or hand for some of the card effects. This Dark Golem only counts as Gear Golem on the field or in the graveyard, so we only need 1. For the 3 ofs for the deck, we've got 3 copies of Statue. This guy is your combo starter, or one of your combo starters. Tributes itself, special summons any Ancient Gear monster that mentions Golem or Golem itself. Pretty solid card. And the other 3 of for the monsters is Tanker. This is another combo starter, or you can grab an extender. When you summon, special summons an Ancient Gear monster from your hand or graveyard if your opponent has a monster out. You can play 2 if you want, but I think 3 is best, and 1 is definitely not enough. For the 1-ofs, we have 1 Gearbox, Commander, and Wyvern. Gearbox, you don't want to see this card in your hand by drawing it. You want to search it. So we're only playing 1 to minimize seeing it. All it does is search a 500 attack or defense Earth Machine when it's added to your hand. So it gets your commander or statue for the most part. Commander, I'm only playing 1 of this card. You can play it any amount, really, 1 to 3 copies. I haven't played 3. I did try 2. It's not bad, but I really only use it once per duel. So 1 is enough, I think. Gives you an additional normal summon, and also can banish itself to place duel from your hand face up on the field. Wyvern. He is 1 of your searchers. When he's summoned, grabs any ancient gear card from your deck. This is a hard once per turn, and he's not as easily searchable as the other ancient gear cards. So you could play this card from 1 to 3 copies, any amount you want, really. I think 1 is enough, because if I happen to get more, they tend to be dead cards. So I'm good with 1. And then, of course, we have the 1 copy of Kiteroid. You guys know what this does. No damage from direct attacks twice. Once from the hand, once by banishing it from the graveyard. For your spells, we play 3 copies of Ancient Gear Advance. This is a searcher card. For your other Ancient Gear spell traps, you can add 1 from your deck to your hand. You can also tribute a monster, draw a card. For your other 3 for the spells, we're running 3 copies of Ancient Gear Fortress. This is one of your protection cards. It's actually a major protection card. So while it is on the field, when your normal is touch summon an Ancient Gear, your opponent can't target it or destroy it with card effects. They can't activate anything in response to the activation of your effects, so they're protected. Also, when it's popped, you can special summon an Ancient Gear from your hand or graveyard, so it gives you an extender if it leaves the field. That's kind of nice. We are playing 2 copies of Ancient Gear Fusion. This is your polymerization for the deck. If you're using Golem as material, you can use cards in your deck as material with the Golem. Pretty nice if you don't have a lot of monsters, but you got Golem out. Then for the 1-ofs, we are playing 1 copy of Catapult. You can play multiple copies if you want. I just played 1 because you can use it twice. You pop a face-up card you control, special summon an Ancient Gear from your deck, you can banish it from the graveyard. Once again, pop a face-up card you control, and that time you can special summon a token. Gear Town. You can play 1 to 3 if you want. I like 1. It's pretty searchable. You can get it with Ballista or Dark Golem. Special summons an Ancient Gear when it's destroyed. It's important to note, if you activate it and destruction is chained to the activation, you will miss the timing. So just keep that in mind. Make sure your destruction is not part of the activation chain link, otherwise you will not get the monster. And we're only playing 1 trap, 1 copy of Ancient Gear Duel. This is another polymerization, except you can banish monsters from your field or graveyard. You do have to use Gear Golem as a material, and your opponent also has to have a monster, but it gets to attack up to 3 times. And also, any Ancient Gears you have in your monster zone are unaffected by your opponent's monster effects. So that's a pretty nice protection effect as well. For the extra deck, we are playing 1 of every copy. There's 4 fusions. The boss monster, Chaos Skill Giant. Pretty big beat stick, 4,500 attack, 3,000 defense. Unaffected by spell traps. The opponent can't use their effects in the battle phase at all. Attacks all your opponent's monsters. Does piercing battle damage. Megaton. You don't have to play this card if you don't want to. I'm playing it because it floats into Ultimate Ancient Gear Golem. It can attack multiple times if you use multiple Ancient Gear Golems to summon it. I usually don't, so it's most of the time it's just a big beat stick. Not necessary at all, you don't have to play it. Ultimate Ancient Gear Golem does piercing damage, attacks, I believe, all of your opponent's monsters. No, just the one. But it is piercing damage, 4400 beat stick, pretty big. For your last fusion, we have Howitzer. Pretty good card. This is your turn 1 play. Unaffected by other cards' effects completely. When it's destroyed, you can special summon an Ancient Gear. Pretty good. It's also not once per turn, by the way. So if you revive it with Tanker, you can get 2 summons instead of 1. For the rest of the extra deck, Link Monster, Ancient Gear Link Monster, Ballista. When you use Link Summon, we can search an Ancient Gear Monster or Gear Town. I usually get Gear Town if I don't already have it. And then we can pop a spell trap to make an opponent's monster's attack 0. So you can easily pop Gear Town, make a monster's attack 0, get a big monster out, and wipe your opponent out with 1 shot. Pretty nice. For the rest of the extra deck, we've got 2 Xyz monsters. Gear Gigant X, he's literally in here just to search Kiteroid, no other use. Dweller, you guys know what this does. Staple rank 4, shuts off your opponent's graveyard. And then for the other 2 Link monsters, we're playing IP and Goddess. If you don't have those, you don't have to play them. You can play any staple that you have, it's fine. IP to Link Climb into Goddess. If you have the room, you can include hand traps to help against certain matchups. You can't play Nibiru since it's a rock and you're locked into Earth Machines, but you can use all of the other ones. You can also play staples if you want to play staples. Just keep in mind that you won't be able to set cards most of the time, so you'll mostly only be able to use them during your turn if you're activating them from your hand. I don't really recommend doing this, both due to the set restriction, which would mean that they're a dead card in your hand, and your zones may already be occupied by spells and traps, so you might not have room because of that as well. I've seen some builds running stuff like MST and Cosmic Cyclone. I think that's kind of pointless, but I guess you can if you want to. I mean, your opponent can't activate anything to target you or during the battle phase anyways, but whatever. There are a few other cards you can play if you want. You've got Ancient Gear Dragon. This guy negates a spell or a trap card. You've got Urgent Schedule. Special summons a high and a low level Earth Machine from your deck, but their effects are negated. You've got, I'm probably going to butcher this, Quillfort Genius. This is a Link 2 machine. You can negate a face-up card on each side of the field. If you want to play rank 8 Xyz monsters, you can play Ding or Sanapon. Those are both solid choices. I seen a video that Pat put out where he was playing the Exorcister engine for the extra deck. You could do that if you want to. I thought it was pretty cool. It gives you an alternative turn 1 if you don't want to go into Howitzer or if you don't have Howitzer. If you do that, check out his video. I believe the only cards he had in there, he had in 1 copy of Asophiel, 1 Mikolas, I'm sorry, I don't know how to pronounce these cards. And then he had 1 Magnifica, and he also ran 1 copy of Carpe Diem, sorry. So you can do that if you want. You can also play staple extra deck cards. You've got Unicorn, Phoenix, you get your hand traps, Valor, Joel and Mockberg, Crow as a couple examples, Forbidden Droplet, Eclipse, pretty powerful standard staple cards. Again, MST, I don't really recommend that one, but I guess it is an option if you want. So those are some additional cards that you can play if you're missing some cards, or if you just want to add a couple extra cards in to help you out against certain matchups. you can do that. I've got a couple replays for you guys. First one is going second against a hero player. Nothing out of the ordinary for the hero player. Pretty standard, normal plays. You're going to see me play through some interruptions that they had. And he also didn't have a superpower target. Why you wouldn't put Gaia in your extra deck knowing that Ancient Gear is on the ladder, I have no idea why he didn't put it in. So that was kind of a dumb move on his part, but to each their own, I guess. It is what it is. So he's going to be wrapping up his turn here. I think he sets 3 passes. So now we're going to special summon Statue, normal summon Wyvern, searching Advance, activating Advance, searching for Fortress for protection, activate Fortress. He chains MST to pop the Fortress. I don't use the special summon effect. To use Statue, special summon Dark Golem effect, but he negates it with Droplet, which is fine. Then we're going to link after activating Gear. We're going to go into Ballista, and then we're going to search our gear down from our deck. He's going to set the Lost Wind, no big deal. He does chain he chains Thunder Dragon to the Gear Town. I do miss timing on the Gear Town. Again, that's fine. Pop Advance, make his Thunder level attack 0. Special summon Ultimate Ancient Gear Golem using Duel. It's got 4400 attack. And he's going to go ahead and scoop since he can't use spell traps. So that's game. The second duel is going first against Dimension Grasp Orcus. He wasn't able to really do much of anything. That's pretty much unaffected by anything that he could do. So we're going to use the skill, shuffle back a tanker, grabbing Commander, summon Tanker, special summon Commander, Commander effect, special normal summon Wyvern effect, search Advance, activate Advance, searching Fortress, activate the Fortress for protection. Then we're going to tribute, draw on the 1, link off into our link 2 Ballista. We're going to grab Dark Golem from our deck, and then we're going to fuse into Howitzer using those 2 monsters. And then we're going to go ahead and pass our turn. We've got Kiteroid and Howitzer, so we're pretty good to go. He's just going to do standard Orcus plays. If you don't know what this deck does, it's a graveyard effect deck. A lot of their monsters rely on graveyard effects to special summon cards, get their link monsters, Xyz monsters. They do a lot of special summoning. But none of this is going to matter because you can't do anything to me anyways. I've got a lot of floaters and Kiteroid protection. He sends my Fortress to the graveyard. Not really a big deal. It wasn't destroyed. So he swings over Howitzer. Howitzer floats in the tanker. Now I grabbed Dark Golem here because he already attacked with his Orchestrion Link monster, which means his Heart Horror doesn't have enough attack to swing over my Dark Golem. So if he could have still swung over my monster, then I would have gone back into Howitzer. That way I would have had an additional summon, but I don't need to. So I'm going to search 2 cards, discard the Gearbox because I don't need it, activate the Fortress for protection. He's going to use Heart Horror's effect, doesn't really matter. Actually, he shouldn't have did that because now he lets me use Duel. I'm going to use Duel to Fusion Summon into Ultimate Ancient Gear Golem, swing into his monster. He's going to use his Link Monster's effect here. If you don't know what it does, he can make the attack of my linked monsters 0. But this is pointless for 2 reasons. Number 1, if you notice, he doesn't have a link arrow pointing to my Gear Golem. So my attack wouldn't have been dropped to 0 to begin with. And number 2, even if my monster was linked, because of my Gear trap card, he's unaffected by monster effects anyways, so it really didn't matter. So piercing damage, and he scoops, realizing that his card didn't do anything. That's game. That's all I've got for you guys today. If you enjoyed the video or learned anything from it, please consider liking and subscribing to the channel for more content. I did get a new mic. I was trying it out for this video, so hopefully it's an improvement on my last one. If not, then I'm sorry, I'll keep working on it. Alright, thanks for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next one.